So tonight my class is going to be a little bit something different, and it's going to be about the parable of the rich fool. Now, before anyone jumps to anything, thinking anything, there's no reason behind this talk. It's just sometimes when I do a study, I like the parables and I look at it, and this time this one stood out for me, and it was something I wanted to look at in a little bit more detail, and hopefully, by what I'm going to share with you tonight, it's going to make you think about this parable a little bit different as well. But it's all up to you. Every time we look at a parable, every single person or every single student that studies the Bible has their own meaning about the parable, their own translation, what they feel this parable teaches them, or even how they can translate this parable into their own lives. So let's look at the parable of the rich fool, and that is in Luke 12, verse 13 to 21. If we can turn to Luke 12, verse 13 to 21, please. Okay, so Luke 12, 13 reads as follows. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist of an abundance of possessions." And he told me this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded abundant harvest. He thought to himself, "What shall I do? I have no place to store my crops." Then he said, "This is what I'll do. I will tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus grain. And then I'll say to myself, 'You have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.' But God said to him, 'You fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?' This is how it will be with whoever stores up things for themselves but not riches toward God." Now, for many years, I've read this parable over and over and over and over, and it never stood out to me like it stood out this time. Why, I don't know, but there's a reason for everything that happens. And I decided, okay, what does this parable really mean? What does it tells us? What do we need to learn from this, and what can we learn from this? Now, for many years, we collect things that makes us happy, makes us proud, and gives us joy in our lives. But when we read this parable, are we sinning, or are we doing the right thing in collecting all those things for ourselves? And then, what point does it become sinning? And I want you to think about that for a minute. At what point does this storing up things for yourself on earth become a sin? Now, every one of us have a different meaning to what we do. Some people might say, yes, this is a sin. No, this is not a sin. Or just do what makes you happy and be happy. Okay, so do not lay up for yourselves treasure on earth where moth and rust destroys, but where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That is in Matthew 6, verse 19 to 22. Now, again, there we are told not to store up treasures on earth and rather look at things that's going to enrich our lives towards the kingdom. And when we die, we need to look at something that, is this going to give a legacy? Is this what I'm doing right now going to create something bigger in the past or in the future? Never mind, sorry. And then this made me think, okay, what does it mean for me? What if I read that passage, what stands out to me? And the things that I came up, again, this is my personal things. You might think of something else. And to me, it's money, cars, houses, and so on. Now, let me elaborate on that first before you think, money is good, cars is good, we need a house to stay in. Yes, I'm 100%, I fully agree with you there. Money is good. We need money to survive on a daily basis. Unfortunately, we can't go to the Pick and Pay store or the Checkers and say, listen, give me a bread. I'll come back when I've got the money. No, when you need a bread, you need to give up the money now. If you want to fill up your car, you need money. Now again, what cars do we drive that makes a difference? No, it doesn't. It's if you worked hard for a certain car that you've been saving up for years and years and years, if you buy that car, no one has the right to tell you, yo, that's a big car, fancy car for you, man. Well, don't you think you'll be happy with something smaller? No, it's you worked for it, it's yours. And the same with houses. It doesn't matter where you stay, how big your house, how small your house, does it have a roof, doesn't have a roof. It's all up to you if it makes you happy. Now, like I said, let's elaborate on this a little bit. By money, I mean you have so much money that if you decide tomorrow, I'm going to go on a spending spree and I'm going to buy whatever I see, whatever I want, whatever I feel like, I just want to buy it, and you will still not be able to spend all your money. That's how much money you have in your possession or in your bank account or under your mattress, who knows. But again, what I'm meaning here is you've got so much money, but now the community you're in or the place of worship, they come and say at the year-end function, listen, this building is too small for us, we need to buy something bigger, or we need to do some serious renovations. And you are the first person to say, man, I need to go check my budget. I don't know if I'm going to afford this. Money's a little bit tight. I need to turn around pennies. That to me is wrong. That is, yes, that's storing up your treasures on earth and not in heaven. But you've got so much money that buying a brand new building for your church, for your community center, or whatever, doesn't even put a dent in your pocket, and you're not willing to do that because it's your money, you worked for it, why must I give it away to someone else? That is where I find a problem with that. But if you've got money and you spend it on giving it away, I know a certain gentleman who's filthy, stinking rich, and a lot of people think he's arrogant, he's egotistic, he's just everything he do is for show. Yes, it is for show because he can afford it, but what a lot of people don't know is that more than half of his money he is giving away to children's homes, he's giving it away to sports programs, he's giving it away to uplifting the community he is staying in, not some random community out there. But the thing is, he's behind the scenes. He gives the money and no one knows where it comes from. There's two different ways of looking at it. Now, a lot of people tell me, yeah, but the money is the root of all evil. And if we look at the Bible, there's so many passages that says money is bad, don't have enough, don't have a lot of money, and all these things. Yes, money can be the root of all evil, but that is, if you don't have it, if you've got lack of money, that's when the evil comes in, because then you're going to find a way to provide for your family. And a lot of times the way you're finding to provide for your family isn't the right way. Yes, it's quick, it's easy and sufficient for you, but it's not the right way. And not knowing what to do with that money, not knowing what you want to do with it, that is also a problem. Now, cars, like I mentioned before, the things to me is money, cars, houses, and so on. So let's look at cars right now. How many cars are really enough? If you think about it, you're sitting right there right now, you've got a figure in your mind. Is it 1, is it 2, is it 3, is it 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50? It's all up to you. Depends on what you want to use your cars for. It's up to you. For every person there's a number, and everyone's number different. Now, for myself, that number is 5. I'm not going to elaborate on my cars. It's not about me. It's about making you think about what you want. Now, on average, a general household or family will have 1 or 2 cars, maybe a third if they're lucky, and it will be his car, her car, and then their car. And for some people, they don't even have 3. They'll just have their 1 car that they use to get by. And again, in some stages, there's people that have 2. But then we're going to look at a little bit later about a gentleman in Dubai, one of the richest people in Dubai, who's got over 200 cars in his collection. Now, is that too much? Think about it for a while. 200 cars. You will never, ever have enough time to fully enjoy all 200 of those cars in your lifetime. Now, the difference is between me and you and the normal person, or the richest person in Dubai is that love. This special gentleman is um, Sheikh Hamad Dim Hamdan Al Nahyan. And he's, like I said, he's got a collection of over 200 cars, from a little Beetle to a sand buggy to one of the biggest 4x4 things you've ever seen. But what he does is he buys the cars and then build it up the way he wants. Do yourself a favor and go look at some of the cars in his collection. It is fascinating. But again, there, in one of the interviews I watched, that where someone interviewed him about his cars, is he says he does this for the love of it. He enjoys building up these cars and showing everyone about it. He's not building all these cars and then putting them in a factory or in a museum, or, well, he technically runs a live museum, or in a big factory where no one can see them. They just go in Monday, wash the cars quickly, put them under their covers, and away they go. No, this gentleman, all his cars he drives with regularly, and it's for people to see and enjoy his unique collection of cars. But now let's get back to the point of why I say having a car is storing up treasures, and then why I'm going to talk about that a little bit later again. Now, let's take it this quickly thing first. Is imagine you've got 3 cars in your collection, or not even 3. Let's say you've got a 4th car, a big family car that you only take on holidays now and then. But in the back of your mind, you know you need to drive this car a little bit more just to keep that engine running smoothly. And now someone in your family, not even your family, a close friend or someone you know, loses their one car, their sole source of income gets hurt. Now they come to you and say, listen, you've got 4 cars in your collection. Can we please use the smallest one just for a little while until we get our car fixed, or until it's back up and running again? Now you think for yourself, I don't know. I need to really think about this. What if one of my cars breaks? Then I won't have a spare for myself. No, you've still got another car. And that's where we need to look at and think, okay, that's where we might be storing up treasures. Is we've got the opportunity to help a loved one or help a member that we know we care about dearly, and yet we're taking that step back and think, no, not now. Sorry, not now. Maybe next time. Sorry, but I can't take that chance right now. Or we get this new car and we treat it so well. After we drive it, we take it in, we wash it down, clean off the dust. You're not allowed to eat in that car. Yes, I understand it. For the first while, you want that car to have that new car smell for as long as possible. But it gets to a point where we treat our cars better than we treat our family members or our loved ones, our spouses. That's where I think the problem starts coming in about storing up treasures on earth. If you take this car, this possession that you love so much, and I wouldn't say forget about your family, but you do push them a little bit to the side because this is your new thing. This is my baby. I need to look after it. I need to care for it. Luckily, not one of us here does that. And then the same point can be made about houses. Doesn't matter if you have 1 house, 2 houses, 3 houses, 10 houses. It's what you do with that house. Do you buy a house just to tell your friends and family members and colleagues, I've got a house in this area? You really need to sign and wait on a long waiting list to get into this area. The specific area where I live, it's difficult to get in there, and there's people like so and so and so living in that area. But hey, luckily I've got a house there. But you never go there. That to me is classified as storing on an image, storing that treasure on earth. But again, you might have 3 houses in your collection, but all of those houses are used for good. A lot of times where a friend or family need a place to stay for a night or 2, you are the first one to say, yes, come stay with me. There's plenty of room in my house. Or you are involved in the community and something happens to where you normally meet, and then you'll put up your hand and say, hey, I've got space in my house. Let's go there. I'll make some coffee and tea and we'll take it from there. That to me is, I can't care how many houses you have if you use it for good. Also, I don't care how many houses you have if the money you used to buy it were gained legally. I know a few people that, well, I don't know, personally know them, but I know them by name, that got lots of houses, but the way they acquired those were a little bit illegal. Don't worry, it's the government's people I know. It's not my friends. But again, that point of, you've got this house, you've got this possession that was blessed by God. God gave you the opportunity to own that house, and you taking a step back and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, sorry, you've got kids. I don't like kids in my house. There's too many things that can break. This old staircase here is 150 years old. You see that piece of wall? That came out of the First World War. Who cares? It doesn't add value to your house. Yes, it adds value to the price of your house, but not to the house itself. The people that live there, the friendships that can be made there, the memories that can be made there, yes, that adds value to your house. That adds to the main value of your house, not how much it's worth, but how much memories are made there. Now, there are so many other examples we can look at in terms of motorbikes and lawnmowers and darts and cell phones. There's so many little things that people think, but luckily I don't have money because I won't fall into this category of houses, cars, and a lot of money. But small little things that you put on your shelf or put in a cupboard somewhere or use now and then, that can also be classified as storing up treasures on earth and not in heaven. We're going to look at a few verses a little bit later on that we're going to see what we can take from them as well and how it's going to fit into the study. I can remember one clear example of when the first word came out that there's going to be a lockdown and it's going to be this and this, where people went and bought rooms full of toilet paper. Really, toilet paper. There's other ways to clean as well. You don't need that much toilet paper. And the funniest thing is, a month or two later, they wanted to go give it back. It's funny how people sort and take things and how they make storing up, whatever. Now, we can be sitting there, I only got this and this and this. Yes, we only got those small little things, but do we use it? Or do we just have it to say, I've got it? In Proverbs 13 verse 11, Proverbs 13:11 we read, wealth gained hastily will be dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Now, so many times we hear about you can't save your way to wealth. You can't save your way to a millionaire. But yes, a little bit, every single day at the end of the year, that adds up to a big, big amount. Now, in Luke 6:38, we read again, give and it will be given to you. God measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Now, please, don't get me wrong. Don't go out tomorrow or even now after this class and go to the first person you think needs money and say, here's 1,000 rand. Go do what you want, enrich yourself, and then go home and sit and twiddle your thumbs and think, wow, when is that money coming back? When am I going to get whatever I just gave out? When am I going to get it increased? What I do say is, if you have anything to spare, not just money, what about your time? Just giving a good word to someone, just being there for a friend, That doesn't cost, but all those little things will come back to you when you need it. Not just when you think you need it, but when you really need it. Now, we're going to look at another gentleman in the Bible that had a lot of wealth and he used it for the right things. He used his wealth in a right way, and God blessed him a little bit more. And that man's name is Abraham in Genesis 13, verses 1 to 18. It's a quick read, so I'll just read it. Genesis 13, verses 1 to 18. So Abraham went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him, into Negeb. Now Abraham was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold, and he journeyed on from Jebet as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he made an altar at the first. And there Abram called upon the name of the Lord. And Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, so that the Lord could not support, so the land could not support both of them dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites were dwelling in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. It is not the whole land before you. Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, then I will take the right. Or if you take the right hand, then I will take the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw that the Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, in the direction of Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all the Jordan Valley, and Lot journeyed east. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the valley, and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, Lift your eyes and look from the place where you are, northwards and southward, eastward and westward. For all the land that you see, I will give to you and to your offsprings forever. I will make your offsprings as the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offsprings will also be counted. Arise, walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I will give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron. And there he built an altar to the Lord. Now, here we see a really good example of a guy already wealthy, already having a lot of things, and yet God tells him, I will bless you even more. But the thing is, Abram used his wealth for good. He went to Lot and says, Let us not strive. Let us not fight. If whatever land you choose, I will go the other way. And Abram could have said, Yeah, I've got a lot. I've got a little bit more than you. That valley will suit me better. But he gave Lot the option. Just as we also need to step back a little bit sometimes and think to ourselves, what can I learn from this? And I've said it a few times, and I'm going to say it again. All these small little things in our life, God has blessed us with. Not just the big things like the cars, our houses, and the money we have, but the small things, our kids, our time we can spend together with our loved ones, our spouses, and all these small things that we take for granted. Yes, God gave it to us, and yes, He can take it away from us as well. Not all the small things are guaranteed the next day. Yes, you can be living in a multi-million rand or dollar mansion in some really good part of town, driving the best of best cars, and you might walk into work tomorrow and your boss will say, sorry, we're closing the company. what then? Is your house going to be able to pay for your kids' education or support your lifestyle that you currently have for the next 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years? Or is it just going to be a faded memory a few years from now? The thing we need to look at, and the thing I'm taking out of this study, is what are you leaving behind when you are not there anymore? Are you leaving behind a legacy for your great grandchildren, or are you just leaving an image in your friend's mind about, wow, he's lucky, staying in that big house, driving the best cars? What are you taking away? And even with the story of Abraham and Lot, there's so many lessons we can take from that. There's so many little things we can learn from that. But the biggest thing I've learned from this is being humble and counting every single blessings you've got. As we draw to a close now on this study, I hope that you got something out of it, something to make you think and wonder. And I'm also happy to hear your thoughts after this when we go into discussion now. The biggest thing I would like you to take away from this study is, what makes you happy?